Hey guys, this is Tonna, and today we are playing How to Train Your Dinosaur. If you don't know, this is the nickname that I've given to this deck here, focused around Wayta, the new secondary commander in charge of the dinosaur deck, the Veloci-RAMP-Tor deck. I've gone through and I've added in some budget upgrades, kept it under $50 hopefully, depending on when you get them and stuff like that. There are some really nice ones that I've added in here, and one that I wish I could have added, but I just, didn't have it in the budget. Unfortunately, because the fact that it would take up 3/4 of the budget. So I'm going to go through them. First of all, if you don't know what Wayta does, essentially she is able to target a creature to make it fight another creature. However, why this is important is because of the secondary part of it, which is this ability costs 2 less to activate if it targets 2 creatures you control. So what essentially you're doing is you're taking 2 of your creatures, you're battling them out, and then they're going to be able to potentially trigger some stuff. So there is a lot of Enrage based stuff in here, a lot of, stuff based on that. There's also this part here, which is the secondary part, is if a creature you control being dealt damage causes a triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger, that ability triggers an additional time. So there's a lot of Enrage stuff in here, which is going to get buffed up by being able to do it twice because of this, and maybe potentially another time if you look at the cards that I've added in. So the first one I've added in here is the Silverclad Ferocidons. So this is going to make it so that whenever they dealt damage, each opponent sacrifices a permanent. So, we can train our dragons, we can make it so they take a little bit of damage, and then from there, it's going to make other people sacrifice stuff. Always going to be good because it's a decent option to get some really good removal out there from this card. We've got the Siege Horn Ceratops, which is whenever it deals damage, whenever it's dealt damage, it's going to put 2 +1/+1 counters on itself if it survives the damage. So this part here, if it survives the damage part, is going to obviously be important, because if it dies, then it's dead. However, giving it +2/+2 every time that it's going to be dealt damage is going to be great. It kind of synergizes well with some other cards that are in here. We've got the Snapping Sailback. Whenever it is dealt damage, put a +1/+1 onto it. So it's a little bit slower to ramp. However, it also has flash. So you can flash it in, block something with it, it gets damage, and then it becomes a 5/5, potentially kills something off that someone was attacking with. You've got the Kopon here, which is whenever it deals damage, you get to untap a target permanent. So from here, you can deal damage to it. It's got a nice hefty 5, and then you can untap Wayta, and then from there you can use Wayta to, train it again. Why not? We've got the Frilled Death Spitter here. Whenever it's dealt damage, you get to deal 2 damage to a target opponent or planeswalker. The Urban Daggertooth, whenever it's dealt damage, you get to proliferate, which is really nice because we've got some other stuff in here that chucks out +1/+1s. The, where is it? Bellowing Aegislaw here, whenever it is dealt damage, it puts a +1/+1 onto everything. So then you are able to proliferate with that and be able to chuck out some stuff. Or, if there's other advantages that you end up getting, like, you've got your, this one here, the Snapping Sailback, it gets +1/+1s. You're going to be able to proliferate those as well. You've got the Blasphemous Act here. So this is another board wipe that I've added in, and I wanted to kind of expand upon a little bit around the sorceries, the enchantments, and the instants that are in this deck, because there's not all that many in the base deck. It's mostly around, creatures and stuff. So this is going to give us another board wipe. However, we've got ways to be able to resist it in here. For example, the, the Temple Altar Store here makes it so that whenever damage is dealt to another dinosaur, prevent all but one of it. So it's going to be able to give us some resistance there from it. I put a Roaming Throne in. We've talked about this before, but Roaming Throne is just insanely good. It's going to make it so that all the triggers are happening an additional time. So, all our Enrages are happening at extra time, etc., etc. So Roaming Throne, honestly, is going to be really great in here. We've got the Rite of Passage here. Whenever a creature you control is dealt damage, put a +1/+1 onto it. Again, we will be able to proliferate that. And because of the fact that we're training our dinosaurs each other, they're going to take damage constantly. So we're going to be able to constantly put this +1/+1 onto it. We've got the Forerunner of the Empire. This one's here as a tutor. Also, this part here, whenever a dinosaur enters the battlefield under your control, you may have Forerunner of the Empire deal 1 damage to each creature. So, you know, dinosaur comes in, Forerunner goes and chucks out +1 puts damage onto everything, activates all of those enrages. Just activates all the enrages. So then we've got the Stuffy Door. So this one's a little bit interesting. So it enters the battlefield, we can choose a player. It is indestructible. When it is dealt damage, it deals that much damage to the chosen player, and it deals 1 damage to itself. That is actually not the card that I thought it was going to be. However, when it is dealt damage, it deals that much damage to a chosen player. We can use this for our training, right? So we can come in. It has a tap of dealing 1 damage to itself, which isn't helpful. We can come in with, like, you know, Wayta. Wayta's able to just target 2 creatures we control. It doesn't have to be dinosaurs. So we can grab one of our enraged dinosaurs. We can send it at the Stuffy Door. The Stuffy Door is indestructible, so it's not going to die. However, it's then going to deal its damage through to that player. It also... It's not going to die, as I said, but, you know, if we buff it up with just a 1+1+1, if we put 1+1+1 on it, then it will deal damage back to our dinosaur, and then from there, we'll be able to start triggering our enrages. You know, I don't know. I thought it was an interesting idea. Maybe it's not. I think it's an interesting idea, though. We've got Shake the Foundation. Deal 1 damage to each creature without flying. Easy triggers for all our enrages. And then we get to draw a card as well, just because that way you get to draw a card. We've got Ryle here. Deal 1 damage to a target creature you control. That creature gains trample. So yeah, easy way to be able to trigger one of our enrages there. We've got the Trapjaw Tyrant. So this was where a chunk of the budget went to. Whenever it is dealt damage, you get to exile a target creature an opponent controls until Trapjaw Tyrant leaves the battlefield. So we can just slowly exile things by dealing damage to him, as well as then, you know, buff him up so then he's more resistant. And then the final one that I've added in here is a Garruk's Uprising. So we're going to get to draw cards whenever we summon our dinos. All our dinos are going to have trample, which is important. And then we can also draw a card whenever our dinosaurs come into battlefield. So the cards that I've cut from here, I've gone and cut the Arc of Aratazar. It's a card draw. I think it's too slow for us. We got the Adsago and Sia cut because it's just a little bit too slow in my opinion. And we've got plenty of ramp in here, plenty of ways to get mana. Dinosaur Egg. I don't know, you can discover when it dies, but personally, I'm not a huge fan of keeping it around. We've got the Drover of the Mighty. I just don't think it's strong enough. Inquisitor, Firstborn of Gishas. This one was actually one that's harder to cut because of the fact that it does allow us to to make our dinosaurs fight if they want to. However, it costs 2 to be able to do that. We are already, you know, it's already costing 2 to be able to summon it. I don't know, not a huge fan of it. Kinjali Sunwing, a control card that I think is really nice, but just unfortunately I don't think fits enough into it. We've got the Lifecrafter's Bestiary here. We've got plenty of card draw in my opinion. Majestic Helifortress. Wow, okay, these names are all over the place. I just don't think it does enough. It would be nice to be able to have it in there, but I think that our Enrage stuff suits better. Migration Path, we've got we've got Rampant Growth, we've got Farseek, we've got Cultivate, we've got, Thunderherd Migration. I just, personally, I don't know, I had to cut it because there's just enough ramp in here in my opinion. We've got Mosswort Bridge, decent land, but I like other lands more. It's the only land that I did cut besides the Arc, but personally it's just not going to do enough for us, I don't think. We've got the Quartzwood Crasher. Again, that's decent, and we'll have a lot of stuff with Trample, but it's just a bit too slow in my opinion. Runic Armasaur, we don't need more card draw. Can't be counted in protection from blue. Meh. Thundering Spineback, giving our dinosaurs +1/+1 is nice, but you know, it's it's a bit expensive, and then a +1/+1 is great, but you know, there's other dinos in here that I think do more, as well as costing 6 to summon another dino with trample. And then Temporary Stomper here, which is a nice card, but it's more ramp again. We've got heaps of ramp in here. I still did keep in the which one was it? One of the dinosaurs that was in here that lets us play, like this one here lets us get 2 mana each time we tap a land. I can't remember which one it is. There's one in here that allows us to play a secondary land each turn. And personally, like the Wayward Sawtooth, this one here lets us play an additional land per turn. We're going to be drawing heaps and heaps. Potentially, you know, we need something to be able to allow us to keep these cards in here, like, you know, increase our hand size or something like that. But I just didn't have enough room with the money that I was like trying to work with here. The one that I do think that I'm kind of missing out on that I wish I could add in, but it's just too expensive, is a Polyraptor. Polyraptor's going to do a lot in here if you manage to get it out and manage to proc it, as well as, you know, it's potentially going infinite. However, then you need something to be able to kind of cut out that infinite, because otherwise you're just going to create a million Polyraptors, but you can't stop it because it just keeps going, because it goes infinite with like the Marauding Raptor, where it deals 2 damage when a creature enters. So, you know, that would make a huge Marauding Raptor, but then you need to potentially either kill off a Polyraptor or something, because otherwise you're just going to keep continuing on with it. But that's it for today, guys. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think. Go train your dinosaurs, make them fight each other. Have a great day and goodbye. Make sure you do subscribe, and I am going to put the link to this down in the comments for you guys to be able to check out. Have a great day and goodbye.